Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my shop. Today we're going to get back on that Kubota BX23D, and we're going to do a 100-hour maintenance because it's real close to 1,300 hours, close enough, and I've been seeing some oil drips on the ground, so we're going to check that out while we're doing this service. So stay tuned. I'm going to get a number 14 millimeter wrench here, and we're going to start draining that hot oil because I just mowed 2 acres. Right. In order to get an oil pan underneath that, I dropped the front mower brace. I'm not taking the mower totally off unless I have to. I just greased it up here just before I did this mowing, so it doesn't need to come off for any service. But it may have to come off depending upon what I find underneath this bonnet. So anyway, this comes off. You got a bracket here. Alright, you drop that, it unhooks from the front of the mower, and you let it down. You want your mower at its lowest position when you do this anyway. So now I got my number 14 wrench, and I'm going to get under here and take that oil pan drain plug out. Alright, as you can see, there's barely enough room for this my drain pan to fit on right directly underneath this drain plug right here. And that's a number 14. I'm going to see if I can't reach around and get that broke loose. Right there. Alright. The oil's pretty hot, so I'm going to try to get my hand out quick. Alright. And I did. Alright. You can see them just lining up under it. It's not a magnetized plug, so if there was any metal, I'll just have to look for any shiners. But anyway, while that's draining, I'm going to remove the bonnet. Alright, if you watched my previous video, you see where I've done this, so I'm repeating this for the second time. Anyway, 3/4 inch socket. Now, I tried to explain it in the other video. When I look back at it, I see where I could have been confusing. Normally, there's 4 bolts that holds this grill guard on, and on this outside is the Allen head bolt. Alright? On the inside is these 3/4 inch nuts and lock washers. To make taking this off and on a whole lot easier, after I took it off the first time, I reversed them. I put the Allen head on the back side and I put these bolts on the front side. That way I can just zap them off and not have to sit there and fight with an Allen wrench or buy a correct size Allen wrench headed socket. But anyway, now this dude weighs a few pounds, so you want to make sure you got your hand on it for that last nut. Even if you got steel toe shoes on, it'll get them toes. He weighs a few pounds. At least 25, maybe 30. I'll pull one of those nuts up so you can see. See, it's an Allen head. And that's normally on the outside. Alright? So by reversing them, it makes it a whole lot easier to R&R that brace. Now there's 4 bolts, well 2 nuts and 2 bolts that hold the bonnet on. And like I said in my previous video, you do not have to take the hood off, okay? The hood can stay on. So I'll show you. Alright, these are number 12. Got a bolt here, nut here, and a nut here. Sometimes the stud will come out with it. Didn't on that one. I'm going to get that washer off. And the stud did come that time, alright? Alright, twist and pull back your headlight, alright? And push this way a little bit, alright? And that bonnet will come right off. I'll put you back here a little bit so you can see. Alright. There you go. For this service, which is just an oil and oil filter change and an air filter change, you really don't have to pull the bonnet off. But mainly, I like to pull it off so I can inspect your overall condition. Plus, I want to see where that oil drip's coming from. I don't know if it's engine oil or if it's hydraulic oil. I'm not sure yet, so we'll get to it. Right, it's hard to tell. What I want to do is I'm going to put the plug back in, change the oil filter, and then I'm going to start and run it to see if I can see where it may be leaking, because I can't tell. I can't see any trails yet. So I'm going to pull that front pan off. One thing I know, if you watched from my earlier video, this front protector pan was smashed in because I was driving in the fence rows trying to get my mid-mount mower up in there to do some mowing, and it bent it, and it's possible it could have something, if it, it hit it hard enough to bend that pan, which is not that hard, but if it got into this flywheel, it possibly could have got into the seal, that rear seal. So I don't know. We'll check it out. Put the oil plug back in. Back in the day, back when we worked on aircraft and GSE gear, a lot of stuff you couldn't see. It was all by feel. That's kind of what I'm used to right here. So, yeah, let me get it. There's a copper crush washer that's on the drain bolt, and I'm leaving it on there. We're on the right side of the engine, and you can't really see it, but there's your oil filter right there, kind of tucked up around all this, all these hoses and everything. So I'm going to use a big pair of vice grips, and I'm going to pull him off. I said vice grips, didn't I? Channel lock. I don't know how I messed that up. All right. And it's missing the fan. I like to use Wix filters. All right, this is the equivalent to the Kubota part number. It's a Wix 51064. All right, as you can see, these are the same. The Kubota oil filters are white, and I've never had any problems with Wix, so that's why I run Wix. And what I want to do is I'm going to fill it. Now, some people will tell you that it's a waste to fill a filter before you put it on. I'm not of that school. To me, that's oil that's quicker to circulate that's in the filter, as opposed to having a dry filter, put it on there and then have it first to pump up and then it gets through it and then pumps out to the rest of the engine. Granted, there should be enough lubrication on between the journals and the bearings to lubricate it, you know, for the seconds it takes for that oil to get there. But I don't chance it. I like to pre-fill my oil filters. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right, this is the first oil change that I'm going away from the manufacturer's recommended 10W30 motor oil, and I'm going to Rotel a 15W40. The reason is twofold. Number one, with the amount of hours on this engine, I believe I'm going to need a little bit thicker oil in order to maintain the pressure that I'm used to. And number two, I don't run this in the winter as often as I used to. And so going with a 15 is not too bad. Anyway. Now, granted, this is a sideways mounted filter, so it's going to lose some. It's not going to lose all of it. Get some of that oil, pre-lube up the O-ring, and it's ready to slam back on there. One thing bad about a black filter, you really can't write your hours or anything on it, but that's all right. I keep good records. Now you can do this with the bonnet still on. Right. Now I don't remember exactly the amount of oil. Seems like it's maybe 3 quarts. We're just going to fill it. You know, we'll check it after about 3 quarts, and then we'll go from there. Let that settle and see where it comes up at. Barely registered. Almost there. This is the dipstick, and that dot right there is full, right there. All right. I don't know if you can see, maybe the shiny, but it's right on the dot. But the thing is, when I run it, it's going to take some of that and fill the oil filter, and then it's going to get a little lower. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and button it up. I'm going to take that that guard plate off so I can see up in there. I may spray it down too, just to see. First, I'll see if there's any trails. All right, it's held on by two number 12s, or 12 millimeters. Definitely wet down there. It's definitely wet right here. I tell you, it's almost seems more like a hose. Get some brake clean, and I'm going to spray it down. Wet. So on this side, right next to them lines too, those hydraulic lines, power steering lines. We'll let that drip dry a little bit. We'll start it up, we'll see. gonna run it for a while till it warms up more. We'll see. All right, this is going to be hard to try to show you, but right here, this fitting where my finger's touching, that is the pressure line from the power steering controller to the power steering ram. That fitting had worked itself loose just a little bit, but it was just enough to cause the leak. And I guess that clear fluid mixing with all the dirt and grime and everything is what made it look like motor oil. So anyway, just wanted to show you that's where I felt my leak. And now we're going to change the air filter. There's what the old one looks like. Really doesn't look that bad. There's the new one.
Grandpa, did a package come in today?
Nope, nothing came in yet, buddy. I just ordered it the other day. All right, I'll wipe it out a little bit. All right. They look the same. All right. This is also a Wix filter. Since the place I got it from is not a sponsor, I won't say what it is, but it's a very popular online ordering for anything. And I also got one of these new cups here. The other one disintegrated. I generally go through one of them about every 3 or 4 years. So a couple arrows here that line up. Get them right. And there you go. Like I say, he probably could be blown out and reused, but for as inexpensive as the filters cost, I just swap them. I noticed when the fan belt was turning that the right down there, that the I seen some string on the side. So considering how old it is, it's due to get replaced. And I don't know if I'll do it now or wait for winter. Probably wait for winter, but because it's not a minor thing. Since the engine's reversed and the drive shaft going to the HST, the hydrostatic transmission, actually connects to the front here, you got to disconnect that drive shaft. So to do that, you got to drop the deck. So like I say, that'll wait till the winter. Of course, color's not really a true indication, but it is still green, so we're good to go there. All right. I tell you, my hat's off to those guys that can video record, hold a camera with one hand and wrench with the other. That's amazing. All right, now to check your, so you want that not to interfere on the front side. Now to check your hydraulic fluid, on this particular BX, it's a pain, somewhat. So I'll roll this out a little bit and show you. Well, of course, we're standing back here at the rear of the tractor, and I want to point out to you the dipstick for the hydrostat right there. See it down there? All right. Well, I'm going to put the camera up, because you need 2 hands to do this, and I'll be right back. The hydraulic fluid, what Kubota calls UDT, and in this case, it's Super UDT2, which means it's synthetic. It's almost clear and it's hard to see on the dipstick, so what I normally get is a rag that I can lay the dipstick on and I can see the wet indentation, and we'll just pull him up, squeeze him out, lay him across like that, and we bring them up like that, you can see it's falling right at the very top line of this dipstick. But I'm going to check it again. All right. I've painted it white, I've painted it black, I've done everything I could to make that more visible, and the best way to do it is with a rag, a light colored rag. Make sure you get them all the way in there. Bring them out, lay them across the rag. All right, move him back. You can see that's the top fill line. You want it in between these two lines right here, and you can see it's right at the top. So the leak I was having at least wasn't enough to really drop it too much. And you, of course you check it with the engine off. That's fine. You don't. It's not like an automatic transmission. I have checked it with it running. As a matter of fact, look, I'll just prove it to you. The level really doesn't change. All right. Maybe a little higher. So it does, it reads a little higher. All right. So it did change a little bit to the better. Anyway. If you do have to add fluid, well, here, I'll show you. That'll do it for this 100-hour service. Basically, like I guess it's repeat and repeat. Huh? Oil change, oil filter change, air filter change or service, and check all the other fluids. Check the overall condition of the tractor, and you should be good to go for that 100 hour. Now, what this inspection has showed me is that come winter, the off season, I'll probably replace that fan belt, which is unfortunately somewhat of a major undertaking, but I generally take the deck off, the mid-mount mower off anyway, so that's not a big thing. And we'll just keep an eye on the oil level and that rear engine seal, and we'll see if it gets any worse. I've got a couple more acres to knock out if it don't rain tomorrow, and back there in the back, and this is the tall stuff. So it's going to put this thing through its paces. Now, you might say, well, how come I didn't do any greasing? Well, actually, I did the greasing yesterday before I took this thing out to mow today. The mid-mount mower, and there's two greasing positions on the tractor itself that and they get greased basically every 10 to 15 hours, all right? So that's not part of the 100 hour. You need to keep up on them about every 10 to 15 hours. And I really keep them spindles lubed real good because I don't want to have to replace nothing that can be prevented being wore out. And as far as I can tell, this thing's running really good. And the mower's running really good, and I pretty much taxed it going in some thick stuff. So so I didn't have to grease it during this service. Let's see. I'll probably, after I mow, generally after every mow, I'll blow it off with a leaf blower, and then I might hit it with a pressure washer just to get all the other stuff out, because we've had a very rainy July. I don't remember July being this wet. I shouldn't complain, because normally July and August we are almost on drought conditions, or that's the way it's been. But we're way above our average now. So what that means is I'm mowing in a lot of mud. I'm picking up a lot of mud, especially in some soft spots. So that's why I got the turf tires in the front, and I got the what they call bars or R1s in the back, so for my traction. This is four-wheel drive. I can put it in four-wheel drive, but I have to every now and then. But by keeping it in two-wheel drive, the majority of the time it's very nimble. Turns on the dime. It's not a zero turn, nowhere near a zero turn, don't get me wrong, but it turns real good and it's real nimble in two-wheel drive with no attachments on it except for the mower. When I do the back, I may put the front loader on because sometimes I got dead branches or even some fallen trees I got to get out of the way when I go back there. I don't go back there as often as I used to. But anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So this is the 100-hour service. If you're still with me, I hope if you hadn't done it before, you can see how easy it is. You know, if you can change an oil filter on a car, well, you can definitely do it on this. The bonnet, you don't, on this particular, on the 2230, the 2200, the BX22 and the BX23D, you don't have to remove the bonnet to get to the oil filter. Now, the later models, I'm not sure, because they changed the way the bonnet hooks up. But even if you have to pull it off, I'm pretty sure it'd be real easy. Anyway, so I believe that'll do it. We'll stick a fork in this dude. We'll keep monitoring all the fluids, make sure we're good to go, and we'll go knock some more acres out tomorrow. And then hopefully, if it don't rain, we're going to take the truck out. So, I hope everything's going good with you and yours. Everything's going good here. Can't complain. Won't do me no good to complain anyway. Just take care of the business and carry on. So have a good one, and I hope to see you around on the next one. See you.